I think it is as relevant as ever. The global goals, they really cover the full range of issues that people care about under the future they would like for themselves and for the new generation, their children. And so it covers issues from poverty to inequality to issues of peace, governance, justice, etc. And the world, I think the UN recently announced again that we are facing one of the biggest humanitarian crises since World War II. And that was around the time when Derk was saying those very famous words. We see more people displaced than ever, or than since the Second World War. We see multiple famines. We haven't seen many famines for the longest period of time. Now we see, multiple famines being declared at the same time, ranging from places like Yemen and Somalia to South Sudan and northern Nigeria. So I think yes, there is clearly a lot that needs to be done, and despite a lot of progress in many areas, there is still a lot of suffering all around at a scale that is really hard to imagine. I think there's a lot more we should do to engage youth, because this is a vision for the future. So we're talking about the youths of today, their future. So they should demand more participation, and we should, do anything we could do to engage them. Having said that, I think the SDGs had a phenomenal outreach and consultation process for 3 years about the future we want, that very specifically tried to get the opinions of youth all around the world and in various levels of society. So I think that was a very good effort to really incorporate their views at that point in time. Also, there are a lot of goals that specifically relate to youth, so that is good. There's a real acknowledgement just of how important the role of youth is. Having said that, the young people of today are the biggest generation the world has seen, the biggest young generation the world has ever seen. So I think there's still a lot more that could be done to get young people fully engaged, because they should have a say in their own future. This question makes a number of assumptions, and my experience with youth is actually that they're not so disillusioned. I think a lot of the youth of today are among the most inspired and engaged young people I've seen in a long time. Because of technology, because of the ease of travel, I feel that, and the wide availability of information, they are better informed than most generations that went before them. And so there is that understanding and that passion to get involved in global issues. And I'm sure there's a lot of frustration of finding the right entry point and finding the right role to play. But wherever I come across youth, they are among the most open-minded generations that I have seen, and they are very, very keen to get involved. So yes, we should find all kind of ways to engage with them, but I don't think it's a result of them being disillusioned. I really don't feel that. I feel they are among the most passionate generation I've seen. I think it is for a lot of big international institutions and bureaucracies. It's very easy to criticize, where it's sometimes harder to make the case of or to explain the benefits of the work of an organization. And it's for journalists, and I used to be a journalist, it's very easy to pick on one particular issue and basically blame the UN system across the board for a particular failure or a particular mistake. But I think simply the nature of the world we live in right now, which is so interconnected and so globalized, I think the UN is more relevant than ever, and if it isn't, or it's failing to do so up to its full potential, it should get further engaged. So I don't think there's any point for disengagement. I think yes, there can be disillusionment here and there, but that should be seen as a challenge for the UN. But the UN is people, but it is also, I mean, the Charter starts with "we the people." It is really a world organization. Everybody should be involved in these issues. The Sustainable Development Goals are not the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This is an agenda for the world that again was adopted with, after long wide-ranging consultations. So it's not every country is making them their own, and as such I see there's a lot of space for engagement, and simply because of the nature of the world we live in, there are so many issues that need a global solution. Say climate change, for example, is a very obvious example. No country will be able to solve that by itself. Anything to do with cleaning up the world's oceans, the world atmosphere, but nature and biodiversity, all these issues are interconnected, and the same is true for global pandemics, diseases. They don't mind about borders, they cross borders. We've seen it with Ebola, which started in West Africa and then became a big global threat very quickly. And then you have all the peace and security issues. You see the displacement from the Middle East that is affecting so many countries, close by especially, but also further away. You see all the migrant streams coming from Africa and elsewhere, Afghanistan. All these issues are basically regional but really global issues that need a global solution. So the UN has a big role to play in all of them. I mean, the model UN is I think an extremely important resource, totally disconnected from the UN. It has all this value in itself. I think that's enough reason for young people to be involved in it, because it helps an understanding of how complex big global issues are, and how countries but individuals can have different perspectives, and how do you come together, how do you foster that understanding. All these are extremely important skills in a globalized world. So I think it is relevant, even if you're not interested in the institution of a UN as such. I think those kind of international skills and those interpersonal skills are extremely important almost wherever you go. So Model UN in itself, extremely important. On top of that, of course, for the UN, it is very important too, because the issues that are being debated are the big global challenges of this time. It is very important to get the young and the new generation involved in these issues, interested in these issues, educated in these issues. Because that will help, because some of them will go on and either in the national governments or in the private sector, in civil society, or yes, in the UN, they will play a role in trying to solve it. It's not the UN who is solving these global problems, it is the world community who is solving those global problems. So to teach young people those kind of skills at an early stage is extremely important for the UN, for global issues, for the world. Youth should not be involved in the SDGs because they think it's important, a world issue. No, they should be involved because they care about the issue, and that's fine if it's at a global level, but all these issues play out at a local level as well, right? So if you are very energized by local injustices that you see, then you want to maybe be involved in that. If it's about environmental issues that you see, maybe you want to be involved in that. If it is about trying to help in educating people, and get people better skilled in helping them to, find meaningful jobs, then that can be your passion, and you can deal with, the people around you first, and build from that. I think it's important to get involved in something that you care about, that you're passionate about, and where you can make a difference. If you only think at the global level and you think, oh, I want to be involved in the SDGs at the global level from scratch, then I think you might get very frustrated, because it's very hard to make an impact that you feel that you have made a very clear contribution to at that global level. So start small, start what you are passionate about, and if then at some point that needs to be scaled up, or you can do it at a bigger level, you can do it at the national level, you can do it at the regional level, and you can get involved in United Nations affairs or international affairs, great. But your passion and your interest should be so strong that it doesn't really matter at what level globally you do it, whether it's local or national, regional or international. Follow your passion, follow your interest. As a message, my key message to young people is to follow your passion. Do what you love. That will create an intrinsic happiness in fulfillment in your life, and that will then take you from there. You can achieve just whatever you want. Don't think too much in where you want to be in a career, or that you want a specific job, whether you want to join indeed the UN, or how much money you want to make. Don't think in those kind of terms. Try and make your choices in life, in your education, in your first jobs, in the kind of things that you love doing. Follow your passion, and with that you be happier yourself, but also you'll be able to make a much better and interesting contribution to whatever field you are working in.